Welcome back to another episode of Dogs on the Couch. Yes, sir, where everybody's allowed to have an opinion. It does not matter if you played the game, you were watching. So if you were watching, you're allowed to have an opinion as well. All your drunk dads, uncles, cousins, aunties, does not matter. You are allowed to have an opinion here on Dogs on the Couch. What can I say? Let's get into it, man. I'm a little delayed with this one, but the rhetoric is still the same. Cleveland Browns played the New Orleans Saints this past Sunday. Final score was 35-14. That was the final score. But what I really would like to talk about is how there's been so much wavering after one game. So this is what I mean by that. I have had the same stance, the same opinions about the team, about the Cleveland Browns for the entirety of the season. Not only that, I've actually had the same stance about the head coach for a couple years now. Dating back to 2020 was when I was saying get rid of Kevin Stefanski. For the longest, people it's like they would shun you. It's like, oh, you fired Stefanski. Oh, you don't know football. He's a great coach. He's all the success that he's had here with the Cleveland Browns, and you want to get rid of him. He's had success. You get rid of his success. He's won 2 coaches of the year. But somehow, after losing to the New Orleans Saints, for some reason, I'm not too sure, after losing to the New Orleans Saints, now, people are starting to question, oh, will Stefanski survive this? I don't know. Stefanski may not be doing, I don't know. Stefanski and Andrew Berry, I don't know. I knew it was real when the number one Stefanski apologist, Mr. Quincy Carrier himself, he even made a video saying, I don't know about Stefanski. I don't know. Now, he's still kind of trying to stand on that square, but it's just so hard. Like, if you really are actually watching what's going on, it's extremely hard to stand on that square. Here's a couple of the reasons why I say that. For starters, the fact that you lost 35-14, that's for starters. You lost 35-14, so it wasn't like it's, this close game and you were fighting and, maybe they just beat you at the end on a field goal or something like that. Nope, that's not the case. It's not what happened. You got your butt kicked. That's what happened. At one point in the game, towards the end of the game, they was trying to say, oh, look like the team just gave up, especially the defense, et cetera, et cetera. And they tried to do a little bit of blaming of the defense. But I believe, me personally, I've said on this channel before, that the reason it's hard for me to place so much blame on the defense is because offense and defense go hand in hand. This is natural for any defense. It does not matter what team it is. If your offense is terrible, oh, wait, let me preface by saying this. Unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me preface that. Unless you are the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin is your head coach. Now, outside of that, if your offense is trash and they not doing what they supposed to be doing, they keep going 3 and out or turning the ball over, or not converting, not putting points on the board when you have the opportunity, making it to the red zone and then not being able to, score touchdowns. Well, eventually, man, that's demoralizing to the defense. Because eventually the defense, and I don't blame the defense going to start looking like, well, what is the point in us stopping anybody? Why? It's not like you're going to do anything with the football when you get it, offense. You're not going to do anything. So why should we stop? Why should we? For what? It's not going to amount to anything. We stop them, and then in 3 plays, we right back on the field. What did we accomplish? We stopped them, 3 incomplete passes, we right back on the field. So what good do it do for us to stop them? Doesn't really matter. So when we dig into the particulars of this game and why, yet again, I believe this is an indictment on Stefanski, because there's still some rumblings of people who don't want to come around to it. They don't want to admit it. They still keep, uttering and trying to mention Deshaun Watson and his contract. Oh, Deshaun, well, we kind of get here because, of Deshaun, and if we hadn't have made the trade and blah, 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 and all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. None of that has anything to do with the product that's being put on the field currently. And for all of the, the Deshaun Watson haters, well, y'all said Jameis Winston is the one who fits Stefanski's system. I had Quincy Courier tell me that Ken Dorsey was perfect to call plays for Jameis Winston because they both like to push the ball down the field. I already debunked that. Because it was like, bruh, Dorsey was brought in because his offense supposedly fit Watson more. Jameis' style of play was supposedly more Stefanski's cup of tea. Okay? So what we got here in this past game that, for me, again, is an indictment on Kevin Stefanski and why, yet again, you can't point to the quarterback as being the problem, okay? You've had some games you could point to this season where it's just abysmal quarterback play. Like, this is terrible. Like, this is just ridiculous. How could you get quarterback play that's this bad? Like, we've had some of that this year, okay? So, see, we can't win because the quarterback play is so bad. That's why we can't win. Whole time I was saying, like, it seems to me like instead of utilizing Deshaun's strengths and orchestrating the offense around what his strengths are, a la what the Baltimore Ravens did when they transferred from Joe Flacco to Lamar Jackson. They didn't put Lamar Jackson out there and say, you need to be running Joe Flacco plays. No, they pretty much scrapped the offense and said, we got to come up with something new because we got to utilize what this guy right here that we got to utilize what he's best at. And in fact, they look unstoppable every time they do that. And in fact, the times that they do lose, especially in the playoffs, what it seems like is that they get away from the bread and butter. They get away from doing the stuff that he's great at, which is mixing in the pass and the run. When they get away from that and they try to have Lamar throwing the ball all over the yard like he Patrick Mahomes, that's when they end up like losing. Because like as great as he is at throwing, he not Patrick Mahomes. It's a bunch of other throwing quarterbacks. He not them either. He not Tom Brady. He not Aaron Rodgers. He not none of them with throwing. Even though he's in my opinion, he's a heck of a quarterback for our throwing goes. But when you limit him to that, you take away what he does best, which is run around. Like, that's what he does best. Run around. Okay? I hate to simplify it as like running around, but I mean, when he utilizes his legs, that's when you get the ultimate Lamar Jackson experience. Okay. So aside from the fact that I felt like we didn't do that with Deshaun Watson, we just put the guy in and said, "Now you have to figure out how to run this." Not, you know what? Well, let's scrap this. Even after like the first 3 games, when you saying that it wasn't really going right or something like that, 2 heads should always be better than 1. So Dorsey and Stefanski should have got together and been like, you know what? We finna scrap all this, and we need to come up with some new stuff to try to help our quarterback out. Oh, he missing reads and he don't see guys. Okay, well, you know what you do with that then? You simplify it for him. That's what you do. You simplify it for him. You give him plays to where it's like, hey, look, drop back. This is your read. If the guy ain't open, get out of there. It's that simple. This your read, this your check down. If the open man ain't there, either check the ball down or go. That's it. Simplify it. That's what you do. Bears just got rid of their offensive coordinator because they felt like he might have been sabotaging Caleb Williams a little bit. Like, you know, to me, I thought that was a great decision. Good job. Way to go. Okay? Because, you know, even though Caleb Williams was looking like a pumpkin, it's hard to think that he's a pumpkin. But with Deshaun Watson, which is up, see, he's done. He can't do it anymore. He's over. Same thing that they were saying about Russell Wilson. And then lo and behold, Russell Wilson get away from Sean Payton because they clearly didn't mesh, they didn't vibe. So as soon as he get away from Sean Payton and he get with Mike Tomlin, Russell Wilson looked like the Russell Wilson from the Seattle Seahawks. So again, that's proof of why I don't believe that Deshaun Watson is all of a sudden a pumpkin. I don't think so. I think he can still be a solid NFL quarterback, even if he's not top 5. I think with the right system, you know what I'm saying, and the right stuff going on around him, I think he could be a top 10 quarterback, even still with the surgeries and all that kind of stuff. I still think he could be a top 10 quarterback. But anyway, aside from pointing to Deshaun and saying, oh, he's abysmal, that's why we're losing because the quarterback play is so bad. Well, let's look at the flip side. Jameis Winston in this game against the Saints, his old team, he was 30 for 46. Could have been a little bit better on the completion percentage, but that's solid. 30 for 46. 395 yards. So essentially 400 yards passing. 2 TDs, no picks. That is a stellar game from a QB. I don't care what QB you are. Starting, backup, UFL QB, college QB, it don't matter. You 30 for 46, 400 yards, 2 TDs, and no picks. You the man. And you still lost. 35-14. You still lost. So with superb, almost perfect quarterback play, you still lost. Not only did you lose, you got your butt kicked. You didn't just lose. You got your butt kicked. What's not told in the passing stats, there are several times that Browns were able to march down the field, make it to the red zone, and just not be able to convert. You just can't get the points on the board. Can't get the ball in the end zone. And then your kicker is missing kicks religiously. The exact same thing that was happening when Deshaun Watson was the quarterback. But we would overlook the kicker missing kicks and just point to Watson like it's his fault. Not acknowledging that Watson actually drove us down the field with a chance to either win or tie or whatever, what have you, and the kicker misses the kick. That's not the quarterback's fault. So, yet again, here we're presented with a situation where with Deshaun Watson out of the equation, and this wasn't a week where Jameis Winston, you got the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is Jameis Winston. You didn't get the bad Jameis Winston. You didn't get that. You got the great Jameis Winston. And you still got your butt kicked. And to put the cherry on top, you know who the New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator is? Because before the game, I didn't know it. Before the game, I didn't know who their defensive coordinator was. Found out during the game. You know who the Saints defensive coordinator is? Joe Woods. You know who Joe Woods is? Oh, that's the guy that Stefanski fired last year. Or, excuse me, not last year, 2 years ago. Because the defense was so terrible. Because back then, when we were struggling to win, we had to point to something. You know, we had to find a scapegoat. So Joe Woods was the scapegoat. Oh, the defense needs to be better. When, mind you, like I said, any defense, like if your offense ain't being productive, defense is like, bro, what are we stopping people for? It's not like you're going to score points. Not like you're going to get a touchdown. What are we stopping them for? Who cares at this point? I'm trying to protect myself, okay, to make it the next season. Not about to be out here risking major injury, stopping, tackling people, blowing plays up. For what? To get y'all the ball to go 3 and out? That's dumb. Like, why would I do? Like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I don't, like, make it make sense, man. I'm going to go through all this to get you the ball, get the offense the ball back just for them to go 3 and out. Or to drive to the red zone and the kicker missed the field goal. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point for the defense then? Defense might as well not even be out there. Because the offense don't seem like they out there. They ain't like they putting no points on the board. So, Joe Woods, who was deemed to be just this terrible defensive coordinator when he was here. Oh, let's fire him. Let's get rid of him. One of the many coordinators that we've fired in the past 2 years. So we get rid of Joe Woods. And the same Joe Woods that had this terrible defense here in Cleveland, he's just so terrible. Somehow, the 2-time Coach of the Year offensive guru mind, Mr. I'm the smartest guy in the room. Somehow you couldn't scheme up an offensive game plan to score more than 14 points against Joe Woods' defense? The guy that you fired because his defense wasn't good enough. Then you go head to head with him. He holds you to 14 points. You know, it's been this thing all year long. We can't crack 20 points. We can't crack 20 points. Here we go. And the quarterback was awesome, so it wasn't his fault. And somehow, Stefanski, you couldn't scheme up enough to score more than 14 points against this Joe Woods coordinated defense. And truth be told, outside of Tyrann Mathieu, if he's still, I think he's still over there. I don't know who else they got on defense over there. I don't know any of their defensive players. I don't know. It's not like they got any world beaters on defense over there. They got Tyrann Mathieu. Because I think the other guy, because they might have had, I think they might have had a DB over there, maybe. But if they did, I think that's a DB that had got traded recently. So outside of Tyrann Mathieu, I don't know who they got. Like, that's it. And you mean tell me you could only muster up 14 points, Mr. Coach of the Year, against the Saints, who are absolutely terrible? If I'm not mistaken, I think they fired their head coach because they were so terrible. Because other teams don't have a problem firing the coach when they're terrible. It's just the Browns. And the only reason the Browns want to do it is because, oh, we fired coaches in the past and we can't get any continuity. Listen here, man. Continuity is great as long as it's the right continuity. Like you're trending in the right direction. That's when you want to keep it together. But when you start tanking, not trending in the wrong, tanking, going fast in the wrong direction, that's when it's time to start making changes. And there's no need to wait. Because if something was going to improve with what you have, I would think it would have improved by now. We've fired all kinds of, we fired every coordinator. We fired Joe Woods 2 years ago. Okay. Then we fired AVP, Alex Van Pelt. We fired him. We got rid of Bill Callahan. We fired Stump Mitchell, the running backs coordinator. We fired him, running backs coach. Got rid of him. So we done fired all the coordinators and brought new people in. Ken Dorsey brought him in. The offensive line person that we got, or running back coordinator person that we got, came from UConn with no NFL coaching experience. Right. So we got that. We replaced all these people like they were the problem. You know who we didn't? You know what coach we didn't replace? Kevin Stefanski. He the last of the Mohicans. He the only one still standing. And after we got rid of all these other coordinators and got rid of all these other players, because in the same breath, with people questioning the coach, and I've been hearing them question the talent on the team. Like, well, did we overrate the talent for this team? What? Well, I mean, if you're going to say that, then that would mean that the talent was overrated when Deshaun Watson was playing with him. But again, you overlook that to point at the quarterback. No, I'm sorry. There's a big underlying issue here, and it is head coach. One thing that you can notice throughout the NFL, more often than not just the NFL, all levels of the game. Usually the team takes on the identity of the head coach. You know what the problem with that, with the Browns is? The head coach doesn't have an identity. His identity is standing with a play sheet, with the play sheet over his face, like this, and his hand on the mic right here. This is Kevin Stefanski's identity. That's it. No, he's not a man of words. He's not a leader of men. None of that. This is him. That's your head coach. As a team, how can I take on that identity? It's bland. It's vanilla. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And that's what the offense be looking like. Absolutely nothing. That's what the offense looks like. It looks like nothing. And then people, well, who would you get to replace? Anybody. Find me the best Madden player in the world and let him have Stefanski headset and call the plays. I guarantee we muster up more than 14 points. Okay? And I highly doubt we're going to see any freaking jet sweeps with Cedric Tillman. Okay? Instead, they probably be using Cedric Tillman the way he's been being used ever since we traded Amari Cooper and Ken Dorsey been calling the plays, or has had a bigger say-so in calling the plays. Wide receivers actually look like wide receivers instead of looking like cardio guys, just out there getting cardio in, just out there running routes and never getting the ball thrown their way. Playmakers looking like pumpkins. Okay? Cedric Tillman could be a great playmaker. He's looking like he could be a solid, like a decent number one. We would have never known that just going with Stefanski. Because the only thing Stefanski would use him for is jet sweeps. That's it. While he runs a 4.5, 4.40, and you're going to run a jet sweep with him. No, sir. No, sir. That's not what you're supposed to be doing, bro. Save that for guys who are sub 4.4. Them the ones who should be running jet sweeps. Sorry. Sub 4.4 guys. That's who should be running a jet sweep. You need real speed for that, buddy. So, again, I just found it mighty ironic, man, that so many of the characters and talking heads that were 10 toes down with Stefanski, and there are still a few left, but so many of them jumped ship after a loss to the Saints 1 week, when just a week prior well, no, there's no way Stefanski, no, Mr. Two-time Coach of the Year. But mighty funny, after that loss to the Saints, I start hearing a lot of tones change. I mean, a lot of tones change. And for me, I'm like, stay over there where you at. Stay on your side. Stay on your side. Are you running out of excuses? I think that's what it is. I think that's the only reason that you kind of trying to mention him because you've ran out of excuses. That's why. You've ran out of scapegoats. Ain't no more Deshaun Watson. You can't point at Deshaun Watson anymore. Couldn't point at Jameis Winston throwing interceptions. Because that wasn't why you lost. You lost because you got out-coached. Somehow that other guy on the other side was able to draw up these plays, these gadget plays with Taysom Hill and run all over us. Taysom Hill looked like Chris Johnson. The way he would just run up and down the field, scoring touchdowns, just run up and down the field. They running the Wildcat. The Wildcat. Running the Wildcat. Running up and down the field, scoring points. The Wildcat. What? The Wildcat? Man, if you don't get out of here, man. Meanwhile, Stefanski he lost. He lost, so I don't know what to do. Especially without that play card. He don't know what to do. It's like, dude, you ain't got the play card. So you know what you got the luxury to do? When Taysom Hill run over there, go over to the defense and get fired up. Be like, hey, if Taysom Hill score another touchdown, I'm taking everybody out. Starting with you, Myles Garrett. You the leader of the defense? Let Taysom Hill score another touchdown. I'm sitting your punk butt down. And everybody else with you. Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, I'll sit all of you. We losing anyway. We're losing anyway. We get our butts kicked anyway. So let Taysom Hill, let them run another fucking gadget play. Let them run another ooh-wee. And I'm sitting everybody. If I'm getting fired, if y'all want to make me get fired, everybody coming down with me. But again, he's so bland. This is all he knows how to do. This is it. That's all he know how to do. This. That's it. That's all he know how to do. So here we are, Thursday night football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then now everybody's saying, oh, well, if they lose this one, then, Kevin could be on the hot seat and blah, 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 blah. That guy should have been on the hot seat freaking 3.5 years ago. When, like I said, when I gave up on him in that Jets game, in the game against the Jets, we didn't have no wide receivers. They was all out due to COVID, and he called plays to throw the ball 53 times. 53 times! 53 times, and you had Nick Chubb, prime Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt at the same time in your backfield. And with no wide receivers, and you decided to throw the ball 53 times, I was done with him then. Because it's just certain stuff that you shouldn't do in football, and that's one of them. Football 101. Jets, this sorry team, we ain't got no wide receivers, but we got the two best running backs in the NFL. I'm running the ball the whole game. You're going to have to – I'm running the ball the whole game. We might throw 10 passes. I'm going to do the Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick used to do that. He did that before a couple times. When he ain't really got the best quarterback or he ain't really got good wide receivers, but he got a decent run game, I'm running it the whole game. I might throw it 12 times. Maybe. And that's just to keep you honest. Just to, keep you honest. But the rest of the time, I'm running the ball. It is what it is. I'll run the ball and win the game 10-3. At least I won. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll run the ball, win the game 10-3. See y'all. Deuces. Let me get on up out of here. Instead of throwing it 53 times for absolutely nothing. So, we'll see the outcome of this Pittsburgh Steelers game, which I'm pretty sure we can chalk it up as a loss. And we'll see what heads do or don't roll after that. Because in my opinion, Andrew Berry need to be gone too. Get him up out of here. Get him up out of here too. He can go. Like, we ain't really steadying you, bro. Like, you can go. Okay. We don't really need you all like that. You done hit a couple picks, but you done had a lot of blunders in there too, my man. And you can't draft wide receivers to save your life. Cedric Tillman might be the only one that's good. But the Anthony Schwartz and the David Bells of the world, they're trash. They're absolute garbage. And we still don't even know about Jamari Thrash. We're yet to see what he really is. So those are wasted picks. Not to mention y'all wasted picks on kickers like Cade York. wasted draft pick on him, then got rid of him just to bring him back. Like, it's just stupid stuff. It's stupid. So we'll see what happens tonight, and we'll see who they want to blame. Because ain't no more Deshaun Watson. Dogs on the couch, sign it off.